All right, so I had a video request from a subscriber of mine. He wanted me to talk about what Jimmy Jackson said about Larry Bird on Fox sports program called Speak for Yourself. And they were actually talking about, what was it, LeBron James and, the impact of other players playing alongside LeBron James and how, especially with the media influence, other players, their contributions are sometimes muted, and no matter what they do, it's just, it's often just overshadowed by LeBron James, right? But Jimmy Jackson said something about Larry Bird, which rubs some people the wrong way. There are some people who agree with Jimmy Jackson. I'm not one of them. All right. He said that Larry Bird is not a transformational figure. I've never heard that word used in that form. I always heard it more used transformative. So I'm going to say that. But I understand what he's trying to say and what the message he's trying to convey. I think what he's talking about is a player who is just leaps and bounds above everybody else. And, he comes along and he just changed the rules, and his popularity is through the roof, and all these different things. And I think that he's, in his mind, Jimmy Jackson, guys like Wilt Chamberlain and maybe Julius Erving, maybe Magic Johnson, LeBron James, Stephen Curry, they're transformative players. Michael Jordan, if I didn't say him. They're transformative players. Now, it's curious to me that he included Kobe Bryant in that. That doesn't really make sense to me, being that, there's nothing. Kobe Bryant was a great player, but there's nothing really transformative about his game. I mean, he was a B-side copy replica of Michael Jordan. So you can't be a transformative figure if you're a 1C copy of a 1A player. But I mean, that's just how I see that. I mean, that's just me. Now, I sometimes think, from listening to Jimmy Jackson, right, I listen to the clip, I think he also confuses transformative with popularity. Like, he talks about how the air just gets drawn out of the room when Michael Jordan comes in the room, or what have you, And that's an aura, that's charisma, what have you. Magic Johnson was the same way, all right? Magic Johnson had an aura about him, charisma. Bird was an introvert. Bird was the type of guy whose personality was, he didn't make people swoon, if you mean, if you get what I'm saying. His game did that. Bird was an awkward person, not prone to being the most talkative person in the world. And, but as far as him being transformative, well, this is what I have to say about that. Larry Bird was something that we had not seen before when he first entered the NBA. Now, you got to remember, it was kind of a repeat of what we're seeing now with Stephen Curry, but to a lesser extent. You got to remember the 1970s, all right? The 1970s, you still saw a league dominated by big men, all right? Will Chamberlain at the beginning, Willis Reed, all right? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bob Lanier, Artis Gilmore, then there's the other tier of guys, Jack Sikma comes to mind, other centers and big men, Bob McAdoo, Suzanne Nader, but not only were the big men the dominant centerpiece of potential NBA championship teams, but you also saw the high-flying scorers, all right? The high-scoring athletic wings and guards, Julius Erving, all right? George Gervin. A lot of people forget, especially when he was younger, George Gervin was a very athletic guy. Yes, he had the finger roll. He was finesse, but he would occasionally show his hops and dunk one over you. David Thompson, wow, phenomenal athlete, phenomenal. 42-inch vertical leap. Larry Keenan, another great athlete. There were many of these guys who were great physical athletes. And Larry Bird was a guy who played more grounded. He was not, compared to them, a great athlete, though his lack of athleticism is very exaggerated. He had a 28-inch vertical, which is actually pretty average, for the league. Larry Bird was 6'9". We had never seen before Larry Bird, we had never seen a small forward at his height with his ability to shoot from the perimeter. The closest thing we had before him was probably Bob McAdoo, who had range out to 22 feet. Bird had range beyond the three-point line. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Larry Bird, even though his career three-point percentage was 37.6%, after his rookie year, Bird pretty much abandoned the three-point shot. He would shoot it only in certain circumstances, when the game might be on the line and he might take a shot. But a lot of times he ended up shooting that shot with the shot clock running down. And that's why you see a tremendous drop-off in his percentages after his rookie year in 79-80. If you look at, for instance, 80-81, 81-82, 82-83, 83-84, 84-85, all right, those seasons, his three-point percentage is not all that great. It wasn't until maybe 85, but definitely 85-86 when Bird started actually reincorporating that shot in his arsenal, starting to use the three-point shot as a weapon. He was the first guy, really, to use the three-point shot as a weapon. And that, in my opinion, makes Bird a transformative player. He helped to popularize that shot. Not Magic Johnson, definitely not Michael Jordan, not Charles Barkley, Larry Bird. Larry Bird was the forerunner of popularizing the three-point shot. And I'll say before, and I'll say it again, that getting back to my point I was trying to make, even though Bird's a 37.6% career three-point percent shooter, which is still very good, if you take away those years when he wasn't really shooting that shot, and you go with the other years, he then becomes a 41% career three-point shooter. Bird was the first guy and the only guy to average 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists in his career. In fact, he averaged 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists. He's the only guy to do that in history. Bird took the title point forward to new heights. There were players before him that played the point forward position to an extent. Paul Pressey comes to mind. Rick Barry comes to mind, especially during that championship run for the Warriors in 1975. Robert Reed comes to mind. Marquise Johnson comes to mind. But Bird took that to a whole nother level with the Boston Celtics, and it paid dividends because he made everybody around him better, playing the point forward position. As a matter of fact, just Larry Bird's overall proficiency at the small forward position helped to popularize a new trend in the 1980s, where more and more teams were relying on their wings, their small forwards, which has that perfect blend of athleticism and litheness of the smaller players like guards, but a little bit of the power that you see in the center and power positions. And you saw more and more teams with their offenses galvanized and centered around the small forward position. For instance, you have Bernard King with the New York Knicks. You have Alex English with the Denver Nuggets. You have Dominique Wilkins with the Atlanta Hawks. Marquise Johnson, who I mentioned before, with the Milwaukee Bucks. Julius Erving with the Philadelphia 76ers. Let me see. Who else? Who am I missing? James Worthy with the Los Angeles Lakers. All right. Various other Mark Aguirre with the Dallas Mavericks. You know, these guys are going to pop in my head as more and more teams pop in my head. Kelly Tribuca with the Detroit Pistons. You see what I'm saying? There was a league trend toward more and more of the three position, the small forward position, being the centerpieces of offenses for teams. So Larry Nance with the Phoenix Suns, later on with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So to say Larry Bird's not a transformative player, I don't know, man. I think Jimmy Jackson's on the island alone on that one, man. You know, I don't really get where he's coming from with that one. You know, like I said, if you're talking about popularity, well, in 1997, during the All-Star game, Grant Hill had more votes than Michael Jordan. Does that mean that Grant Hill is a more transformative player than Michael Jordan? No. Was Larry Bird the most gregarious, the most, media-friendly guy? No. Was Larry Bird the same guy that once went into the three-point, the locker room where the three-point shooters were in the weekend and said he was looking to see who was going to finish number 2? Yeah, he was he's probably the best trash talker in NBA history. I mean, players trash talk before him, but he made it an art. He used trash talking as a weapon, and I think that he also strategically targeted NBA players who he think could be mentally affected by trash talking. Bird has one of the highest basketball IQs in the history of the NBA. So, Jimmy Jackson, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but I just had to make this video, man. Like, I think you're pretty much alone on this one, man. To say Larry Bird's not a transformative player or transformational, how you say it, I think you kind of just made a talking point, man, and you just stuck to your guns, but I don't know about that one, man. No. Larry Bird was able to do a lot of things, man, that a lot of players aren't able to do. You name me a guy who's 6'9". Yes, he's 6'9", but lacks the athletic ability of a Charles Barkley. Okay, lacks the quick leaping ability of a Dennis Rodman, or the strength of Wilt Chamberlain, but was able to average 10 rebounds a game for his career, despite being at the small forward position. And despite playing with the front line of Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish, a player, Robert Parrish, who had well over 14,000 career rebounds. I think it was close to 15,000 career rebounds. I mean, come on, man.